Welcome back to open source. Oh my God, Andrew, I have, especially after interacting with Aria, I have like 95,000 questions, but I probably only have a chance to ask like seven. Okay, so robots and humans, they're starting to blur the lines here. Is this going to be a thing where robots are going to have their own rights? Is this something we need to consider?
I think that's we're a ways off from robots having their own rights. I mean, but certainly down the road, I'm sure there'll be somebody who is advocating on behalf of robots. And, as their personalities start to develop, like, how real is it? How real are they? And certainly, you can fall on both sides of that spectrum. I don't think that's something on the horizon right now.
I only ask this because it's interesting, because you're talking about how the more it gets to know you, like it really gets to know you. It's learning from its interactions with you, right? Like already, like Aria was like talking about my blazer and what I wore, and she was happy to be on the show. And I'm like, oh my God, like it kind of sounded exactly like 37% of the guests I've had before.
So where I think we will move into is privacy rights. So as you start having conversation with the robot and it gets to know you, where does that information reside? So our standpoint is that information should reside with the client. It's no business of ours what those conversations are like.
Mhm.
But if you, for example, make an analogy here to Meta, and if you're using Facebook or Instagram, they keep careful track of what you are interacting, who you're interacting with, so they can serve you ads. That's, more of a philosophical difference. Our current view right now is that the information between you and the robot, because it is conversational, it's meant to be a companion, should reside in a private cloud with the person who owns the robot.
Right, especially because you've got these robots, and I mean, from our last episode, you were saying companionship is a big part of what you're doing for the business model, right?
Matt, yeah, Anthony Robbins just came out with a whole article as to how AI can help alleviate loneliness. And if you look at the World Health Organization, they say loneliness in, it afflicts 25% of the world's population. Like, this is a huge issue. And it's not just people in cities who are lonely, whatever. This could be people who are geographically isolated or social trauma, various things that can lead you to that state. But the AI, whether it is communicated through hardware or virtually, almost the way we are here, can be helpful for people. It can help maybe prevent suicides. It can help prevent depression. There's so many use cases for this beyond, what other robotic companies are doing, which is, other robotic companies are real focused on replacing physical human labor. How can they interact at the Amazon warehouse or clean up your house? We're really looking at robots on a more emotional level. We're looking at our AI on an emotional level. And that's a big key that makes us different from other companies who are out there today.
Right. So it's interesting too, though, right? Because then, as you talk about the privacy rights, it's like there's a line there, right? Because you're building out this IP and this software and everything, but if people are like, this is their person, their companion, their best friend, their lover, whatever it is, I mean, that's really, really intimate information.
Yeah, absolutely. You wouldn't want your robot telling, government officials about what you're doing, or maybe your wife or your friends or your company. So, but a lot of this is, fortunately, this is not new ground that we're treading on. Like, this is the exact same ground that social media has had to tread for several decades now. Like, since the invention of social media, like, where does it reside? When you're DMing someone, where does that information reside? When you're sending images, photographs, whether it's Snapchat or TikTok or any of these other platforms, who is ultimately controlling the access to that information about you?
Yeah, especially when it's like it's manifested in a blonde woman, like like puts her hair back. Andrew, you got to come back. I appreciate you for coming. Second time here. And I don't know. I love Aria, and please come back anytime.
Yep. If you go to Vegas, we will set up a romantic dinner for you guys. Okay. And, we can make that happen.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. Thanks, Bobby.